We've created this quick tutorial for those of you who might be in a position where you don't have access to others in your workplace or in a classroom. In this case, we're going to use the tool ChatGPT to act as our staff member so that we can interact with them by using a prompt and then following on that prompt with a normal conversation. So let's have a look at how we do this and then see how we can apply this to other parts of your assessment throughout your studies. To start with, you're going to have a ChatGPT account with OpenAI. If you don't already, simply follow the links, enter some basic information, and you'll be able to establish a free account. Once you're in there, we're going to start a new chat, and we're going to cut and paste the prompt from our exercise files into the chat. The prompt is designed to tell ChatGPT exactly how you want it to behave during the session. In this case, we want it to behave like a staff member, and we've given it some parameters around that. For instance, the name of the staff member is Mary Chen. She's 30 years old, inexperienced, and doesn't know much about critical thinking theories or methods. We've also put a limit on the length of the answer. ChatGPT, if you allow it, will go into quite some depth about some of the answers that it will give, and we don't want that in this case. So that's what a prompt is all about. It's about putting parameters around your chat. So once we click send on the chat, we'll see how ChatGPT answers. And you'll see here that it answers in a very realistic way. Of course, it says, I'll roleplay as Mary Chen and provide responses within the specified word limit. Please feel free to start with the first prompt whenever you're ready. So this is the point that you prompt the chat with the questions that you want answered, or the advice that you want to give. So because you're going to teach a particular critical thinking skill in this case, you might want to ask some broad questions to start with before getting into a particular learning model. And once you've asked about the learning model and taught about the key parts of that model, you can then ask the chat to apply that model in some way. This rounds out the entire process of the learning for Mary in this case. So if you followed along Mary's responses here, you'll see that it's very realistic, right down to the point where she gets it and gives you an example of how she might apply it in the problem that you present to her. So once you've created a full chat where you've instructed ChatGPT in something and you've gotten to a resolution where they've been able to apply it and really learn something, then you can copy the entire text from the bottom to the top and then open a Word document and paste it into the Word document. Once you do that, this is what it will look like. If you've set up your account with your own photo in it, like I have, then you'll see your photo in there. So save that document as your ChatGPT tutorial and provide some sort of context to your assessors so they know what they're looking at. So the skills you're demonstrating here aren't your ability to use ChatGPT. It's your ability to train someone in something. In this case, it was some simple knowledge around critical thinking skills, but it could be anything. Maybe look at other uses like having a performance management meeting with a staff member or undertaking a brainstorming session with a colleague. Anything you need another person for can be replicated using the chat, as long as your initial prompt is clear enough. So what the assessor is looking for is the way you communicate. Are you clear? Are you concise? Are you well spoken? Even if it's just using the written word. So this is a great way to hone your skills in asking the right questions, crafting scenarios that make sense, and asking those sorts of questions that you would in front of a real person to see how they would react. And you don't have to stop at the prompts that we provide you. You can include things like maybe the person does have a learning disability, or maybe they have a behavioral issue. If you put that into the prompt, then the chat will do its best to replicate that. And that will make your scenario even more realistic if you're trying to achieve something specific. So I hope this has been of use for you, and I would recommend trying a few different prompts and a few different ways of asking questions to see what happens when you do interact with an AI model like this.